What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I wanted to put this in the beginning. Of course, we are coming to you live from Gotham Production Studios, which is our home here for X Drinking Buddy. Remember to subscribe on Patreon, patreon.com/Brennan Tassif. You can also follow on social media at X Drinking Buddy on Instagram, Twitter, and follow me at Brennan T Comedy on all social media. Check out BrennanTComedy.com for the upcoming shows. And don't forget to get your X Drinking Buddy merch. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Boom. That's it. Easy peasy.
Grab me a beer and grab me a coke. We about to sit for an hour, bullshit and tell jokes. And please don't mix it up, cause he done sobered up. Brennan T Comedy on your social media feeds. And Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Brennan Tassif is your X Drinking Buddy. I am your host, Brennan. There's going to be something. I'm your host, Brennan Tassif. If you're new to the program, quick rundown of the show. I used to be everyone's favorite drinking buddy. It was my favorite thing to do. Hang out with friends, get drunk, do drugs, get in all sorts of trouble, and then reminisce about those crazy stories. I am sober now, but it's still one of my favorite things to do. Hang out with somebody and reminisce about the crazy old days. Most weeks I will be joined by a guest. This week is no exception. All the way from New York City, McKenna Moore. Woo!
This is the biggest day of my life.
What's up?
I'm excited to be here. I'm just hanging.
Hanging.
What's up with you?
Nothing. We were talking diners, breakfast foods. We have very opposing views on bacon.
We do. I do. I think you look at me and you can tell that I'm a full fat bacon kind of girl.
No, and I agree with that, but you like soggy bacon. You like chewy fat bacon.
Yeah.
Ugh, crispy all the way, baby.
It needs to be like curled up.
Write it in the comments. Crispy bacon or curly bacon.
So good.
That's the clue. That's all right. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to y'all next week. No, plug everything up front before we get too far in anything.
I'm a comedian in New York. You can find me on TikTok at haha McKenna and on Instagram at McKenna P Moore. I host a dating show.
Yes.
Where it's called Date a Comic, and the audience is supposed to hit on the comics at the end of it. It's super fun, and our next show is May 16th. And then I also host a show called Fat
Where is
Bitches. It's at Fiction Bar in Williamsburg.
Okay, we'll tag it in the show notes.
Thank
and then
you.
What was the last thing I cut you
I
off?
also host a show called Fat Bitches for Fat Bitches.
Damn right.
And the next one is in June at Caveat. So
Gang, gang.
stay tuned.
What's up? Sorry, that was inappropriate.
Yeah, you trying to get on?
I mean, if
You would have to gain, I would say, 120 pounds.
I have a bigger upper. If I took my shirt off, you'd be like, "Yeah, I see it."
I don't know.
My stomach hangs over my jeans. Okay, we're not doing this. All right. I'm just over here just bashing myself. I am really fat.
Yeah, please.
I had ice cream for breakfast.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
What kind?
So I
Was
go
it protein ice cream? Was it low-cal protein ice cream?
No, I don't have money like that. Protein shit's expensive.
It's so expensive.
I get like a $50 or a $40
The big
container.
whey one?
No, it's not whey. It's ISO because whey has too much stuff in it, and whey has a lot of soy in it.
Yeah.
Which has estrogen. Shouts out.
Well, if you really want to live the fat life, get into the estrogen and get some titties.
So I just get this ISO pure protein. It's like $40 a thing.
Nice.
And then I spend too much money on supplements, but that's it. Like I don't like get super clean organic food and all that because I'm like I already spend like if you looked at my budget, you'd be like. It's not like a crazy amount, but for how much I make in my budget, you'd be like, that's a big chunk of your budget.
Yeah.
We're using a lot of the cap space for supplements and
Do you go to a nice
pre-workouts
gym,
and
too?
stuff. I have a gym in my building. It's only $60 a month.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, but it's like a legit gym.
I know a lot of like beefy guys who spend god-awful amounts of money on gyms here.
Gym membership doesn't make sense to me. So I have a gym in my building, and you have to pay for it because a bunch of the residents were like, we never go. Why do we have to pay? So they made it like a subscription thing, but it's a good gym. And then the gym that Tracy, my girlfriend, and I go to in Astoria is a like bodybuilding gym. It's like a shitty $50 a month. It's fucking hot. They've got just two giant fans on the ceiling.
That's
like,
how God intended it.
And I love it.
Yeah.
The only cardio machines are like up at the top on like a little like
Yes.
awning, and that's it. Everything else is like, let's fucking go.
That's
and
awesome.
I love it.
I had a gym like that at home in Ohio, and I loved it. It was just like garage doors, no
Yeah,
AC, just
let's
the nastiest
go.
equipment. That's how you actually get
All
fit.
I need is a bar and iron. Like,
Yeah.
let's go.
I don't need these machines. I want to do my own research, make my own plan, and
We
suffer.
don't need the machines. What are you doing with that? Just lift the iron. Let's talk about it because you're a former athlete. You
I
were huge shout out Daisy Tackett. That was
Yeah.
our kind of
Our girlina.
our synergy point.
Yes.
You were a rower.
I was a rower.
And I was like, oh, I know a rower, Daisy Tackett.
She's
and
the
you
one.
were like, I fucking love Daisy Tackett.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, God.
There are only so many women on the internet talking about being fat and rowing at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's actually might just be me and her. So we were destined to meet.
You have met Daisy before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Last time she was in New York.
Yeah.
Might have been the first time I met her in person. But we've been like internet friends forever and have crossed paths a lot. I think we actually met each other at a couple of regattas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go through it because you do comedy in the city now. But I want to kind of talk about how you even got into stand-up. I say it all the time, and this is how I always preface the question, because to me, stand-up is such a niche thing.
Yeah.
It's very, even people who are like, I love stand-up, and you're like, oh, my favorite stand-up is, you'll name someone like Jamie Wolf, and they'll be like, oh, I have no idea who that is.
Right.
And you're like, well, then you obviously, and Jamie Wolf, I'm just saying because he's very funny, and he's like younger, and he's newer. But like, it happens all the time where people are like, I love stand-up. And it's like, oh, Dan Saint Germain, Matt Fulcheron. And they're like, I don't know. And it's like, they've been to a comedy for 20 years. So you don't like, you like Chappelle.
Right.
Like, you like Robin Williams. Like, just say what you mean.
Yeah.
So how did you even find, because you're younger than me, how did you even find stand-up in the first place?
My parents were actually big Def Jam fans.
Oh,
yeah.
plot twist.
I know. They love Bernie Mac and Cedric,
Yes.
especially.
I love Bernie Mac.
Yeah,
is one of
like
my
Martin
favorites.
was on in the house. Like it was that kind of stuff.
Martin.
Yeah. Nobody expects that coming out of me, but that is.
No, you blindsided me with that.
Yeah, but like my dad also likes like Ron White and Jeff Foxworthy was kind of on. So like I'm from Ohio. Like it's still.
Okay, where are you
that.
from in Ohio?
Columbus.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm from the city, but like my
OH?
parents are from IO.
There we go.
There you go.
Did you go to Ohio State?
I did not. I almost did, but then I ended up going to Syracuse to row.
To row. Yeah, you
Yeah.
went to row. D1 athletes in the building.
Yeah.
What up now?
That's pretty good too. We should start a club. We should start a show of just former D1 athletes. Everyone
Real
would dislike
athletes,
us
though.
a lot. Yeah.
Because there's a couple people out there who like did D1 stuff, but it's like,
Yeah. There needs to be a bar.
who? Oh God, I'm blanking on the name, and I feel like a piece of shit.
That's how I feel about coxswains too. Like in rowing, there's the little person who
Who just shouts, right?
It's not a little person, but you know what I'm saying. It's a person who's little.
Oh,
It could
God.
be. It could, I guess.
No, too dense, too much weight.
Maybe. Well, they do have to stay like so little, and but they don't do any of the
It's called a
actual
coxswain?
rowing. Yeah, it's
And they
spelled coxswain, but it's coxswain. Yeah.
They just go, what?
Yeah, they steer. They're important because everyone,
okay.
all the rowers are facing backwards.
Yo, yeah.
So
yeah,
they
yeah.
are steering and they're making calls and they are a very important part of the team, but I wouldn't call them athletes.
Yeah, just not an athlete.
Yeah.
It's like when people are like, I'm an athlete, and it's like, oh, what'd you do? I play poker. It's like,
Yeah, shut
no.
up. That's insane.
Well, and I also, someone brought it up the other day, but it's somebody's old bit, like from like, I think like the 80s or 90s. But I used to make fun of, I dated a girl in college who was a swimmer.
Yeah.
And swimming is very hard. Leave the comments
Yeah.
over.
I was a swimmer for
there.
like 15 years.
No, but swimming is very difficult. But I used to make fun of her because I go, oh, like, what you do as your sport is like what we do to condition.
Condition,
your sport is conditioning. And I used to joke like that with like weightlifters and cross country people and track people. I'm like, running isn't a sport; it's an exercise.
Yeah.
Oh, they used to get so mad.
They do. They will get mad.
But like rowing is, and Daisy's been on twice on this show.
Oh, hell yeah.
And we have talked extensively about it because I knew nothing about it at first, but I know it's hard because I've been in a fucking canoe before. Like I know like trying
it's
to
way worse than
maneuver a
that.
boat through water is difficult.
It's such a different type of physicality, like physical intelligence.
Josh Semensky, I'm so sorry. The name just came to me. He did cross country at Maine. And he's like, whenever he does the bit, he'll look at me and he'll be like, Brennan and I, former Division I athletes. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here,
I
dude.
don't know. Not that I could do it. I certainly couldn't.
I mean, as long as you don't care about your
Running's
pace, you
hard.
could just, it's not even like,
Yeah, it's as long as you
as
don't
a
care about your
former
pace.
offensive lineman in high school, we just walk and then just do one of these.
Yeah. We at Syracuse, are you familiar like with the carry
Big
dome?
Orange?
Yeah.
Oh.
You know about the carry dome?
No.
Okay,
no.
it's like a big domed that's our like arena.
Yeah.
We play football, we play lacrosse, we do basketball there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But we had to run, it's 2 levels. We had to run both twice, up the stairs, down, up the stairs, down, up the stairs, down.
Oh,
hit the
per,
S
like,
and say
section?
go Cuse every time. Yeah. that was before practice.
I'd
like
kill myself.
Yeah, it was heinous. And my coach would always be like, yeah, this isn't the one for you, McKenna. You're a little heavy for this. And I'd be like, yeah, all right. I'm suffering.
I carry the boats. In the word of Goggins. Who's going to carry the fucking boats?
Me. I got the
McKenna.
longest arms. It is actually always me in any pictures because we hold them above our heads.
Yeah.
All the other girls are kind of just like holding their arms up, but I'm the one actually holding the boat.
Fuck yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Goddamn right you are. We're bonding on this.
Yeah.
So let's talk about family, big into stand-up back in Ohio.
Yeah, into stand-up, kind of in the way you're talking about it, though. Like, very mainstream.
Yeah, just what's on the TV.
Yes,
but they
what's on
enjoy the
Sirius.
art of, like, someone standing
Love
on
it.
stage, making people laugh at the
And
words.
that's how we communicate. We're always ragging on each other, joking. So it was like I was always funny.
Yeah.
That was always part of it. But I was never a performer.
And rowing is that at your high school? Are you in a
was
special club?
Yeah.
How did you find rowing?
We like cycled through. We're a very athletic family as
Yeah.
well. And my parents just love sports. Like, Ohio is so sports focused.
Oh, yeah.
So
My whole
football
family,
focused.
I'm a Florida boy born and bred. Well, technically.
That's similar, though.
Technically, I was born at Akron General, but we moved like when I was a month old. My whole family, every single person went to Kent State. Aunts, uncles, everybody went
both
to
my
Kent
parents
State.
did.
Golden Flashes. And so, but they're all like sports oriented. Like my whole
Yes.
life, it wasn't a choice. I joke all the time. I was like, I'm from Florida, and my family's from Ohio. Like I played football. Like I was born to play football because that's all we watch.
That's what it is.
But I'm always like, if someone would have had the wherewithal to have been like, maybe you should put him in baseball. I would have been a 6'1", 230 pound. Like
Yeah.
I am a first
A
baseman.
killer,
I'm
yeah.
built like a first base. It's like nobody had the forethought.
No. If you're a boy, you're playing football.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was.
I was lucky enough that, like, I mean, I did do, punt, pass, and kick
Yeah,
as a
that's-
kid.
yeah,
I would do okay at that.
What brothers and sisters?
One brother,
Okay.
younger brother, he's a big lacrosse guy. He plays long
Football's-
stick D. He played football
Football's
for a little
TikToked
bit.
younger brother.
Yeah.
Lacrosse.
He's good, though, and he's mean, which is really fun.
Oh, that's fun.
Like, he's a defender, but he's really antagonistic.
Gets
so,
his
like,
stick in there.
yeah, he'll push people's socks down with his stick and then be like, I didn't do anything. He got red carded so many times. Like,
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of
Watch out for the Moore gang, dog.
Yeah.
So, we keep getting off track.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
my
so
fault.
yeah, I
That's
never
my fault as the
performed.
host.
No
I
worries.
accept full responsibility. Don't
I think
tell
we
my
both have a
sponsor.
little ADHD here, so that's tough.
Yeah. Oh my God. Speaking of that, no, I'm just kidding. There's really something I want to say, but I'm going to stay on track. So, how did you said you were cycling through different sports and stuff growing up?
Yeah, so
how
I
did
did
you
like
find
taekwondo,
rowing?
synchronized swimming, and then I was a long distance freestyle swimmer for a long time.
Yeah, you said you swam for like 15 years.
Yeah, but the
Were
only way I was
you-
going to get to college was D2, and that wasn't enough
No.
to get me a
How-
scholarship.
How old are you at this point when you're realizing this?
My freshman year of high school, I swam. I rowed in the spring and swam in the winter, and was like, I just don't think I'm ever going to be fast enough as a swimmer to make it. And the odds of going
And
D1
it was
and rowing,
scholarship was. the
I
goal,
wasn't going to
like-
leave the state
Yeah.
if I didn't have a scholarship.
Yeah.
So, and I love to be impressive. I'm addicted.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So
I was a preferred walk-on, which basically means I was not a scholarship athlete, but they did pay for my meals,
That's
my
awesome.
meal plan and my books. So I always say partial scholarship because that
That's
sounds
awesome.
so much better
Yeah.
than.
one of my best friends was a preferred walk-on when we started, and then I ended up quitting by the end, beginning of sophomore year, and by the end of our career, she was, I think, on 50 or 75% scholarship, D1 or V1 varsity.
Yeah. Just
Baller.
crushing.
Just killed it.
So you, at freshman year of high school, you're like, I need to figure out what is going to propel me to the next level.
Yeah.
And so you were like, I'm pretty good at rowing.
Yes.
And were you when you were younger, were you a sturdier girl? Were you like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
could
I've always
fucking,
been
I could,
big.
I can rip this boat.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm surprised by it. Like,
It's not called
there
a boat.
wasn't
It's called a.
It's a boat or
Oh,
a
okay.
shell.
Shell.
Either's fine.
I could rip this fucking shell.
Yeah. So once I got in the water, I love being in the water, around the water. I love boats. So my mom
Aquarius?
saw it. No, which that's an air sign. I don't know if you know this.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
I know it's confusing and I forget a lot
Because
too.
Aquarius sounds like aqua.
Yeah, I have no water in my chart.
The fact that you know that is I'm a little more astounded.
I know.
You're like, no, I grew up in a house of athletes. We're all athletes. There's no water in my chart anywhere. It's crazy.
I contain multitudes. I speak a lot of different languages.
You're an onion.
Yeah.
Got layers to you.
Absolutely.
So wait, what are you?
Taurus.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is? That's the bull.
Yeah. My birthday's 420.
Yeah, you and
Hitler.
yes. We're past 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like this is monetized. Who fucking cares? So you decide rowing. You love to be
Yes.
around the water. You're gonna row.
Yes.
And did you just because So this is interesting to me because you're in high school, you're swimming for the high school team. How were your parents like, we still need to find you other sports? Were you like, I need to find other, like, how do you end up on a club team while you're in high school? That's why I'm confused.
Yeah.
Because in my head, it's like, oh, you play the sports offered by the school or you don't play that sport.
Well, so we had a reservoir near me, so we would, drive by all the time and see the boats.
Okay.
There were bumper stickers on people's cars. Like, everyone's like very aware of the rowing team, and my mom loves boats.
Okay.
So she actually ended up becoming a referee, and they trail the boats. So she got to be like my biggest fan sitting front row. She's 10 feet away from me going like, go, go, go. It was awesome. So it was like a family affair kind of deal. She loved doing it too.
So you found it, and so you found it before high school. Like
we knew about it. I broke my arm in the 8th grade, or I was going to start in the 8th grade.
Okay.
But then couldn't, so waited until my freshman year.
And then you're on this club team and you were like, oh, this is the thing. This is what's going to get me.
My body's good for it too. Like, you need to be tall. You need to have long arms.
Yeah, Daisy's the same way. Daisy's 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
She says 5'11", but then I stand next to her and she's like,
same thing.
I'm like, you're 6 feet.
I know.
Whatever.
I'm not going to walk around telling people I'm 6 feet tall.
She came back when we were doing the podcast at the old house in Florida. She came over and I was barefoot and she was wearing shoes and she's like, you're not 6'1", and I'm like, whoa.
I
was like, I got measured at my pro day by NFL scouts.
Oh, okay.
Because, fun fact, if you play at a D1 school, everyone has a pro day. Like, every school has a pro day. And you know this because you went to Syracuse. But everyone has a pro day. So and it doesn't matter if you're a freshman or a senior.
Maybe you've shrunken in your old age.
This was like 5 years ago. It doesn't matter if you're a freshman or a senior. Everyone competes in the pro day. Yeah. Because scouts want to know who's coming. So I've gotten measured by, given we were wearing our shoes, and those Nikes got a lot of push on them.
Yeah, they do.
But,
okay, that makes sense.
I'm taking it. I'm taking the 6'1".
You do feel like my height, and I'm pretending I'm 5'11". You're pretending you're 6'1". It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
Whatever. We're fine. So then you like you said, you were built, and Daisy had talked about this too on her episode, there's a certain build where you're like, oh no, I can dominate at this.
Dominate.
Yeah.
Like, especially strength wise, like my legs are crazy. Like, I used to be able to squat 270 when I was 16 years old. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I was really strong. It was hard. I rode at the most intense team maybe in the country. Like, crazy. We worked out all of the time.
Yeah. And
did put in more meters than anyone I've ever met at the high school level.
You hear that, Daisy? More meters than anyone she's ever met.
But I didn't. Daisy did all 4 years, right? No. She did 2 or 3. 2. Yeah.
Well, she bounced around a little bit because of the situation.
Because of the whole thing. Yeah. The incident. I've been calling everything the incident lately. Just it could refer to anything. It could refer to me eating breakfast, whatever.
You figured to take out the trash. Are you referring to the incident?
Yeah. Nobody wants to hear it from me, but I think it's so fun.
It's the best. Sure, a bit about that. Everything's just the incident.
But yeah, so I got trained. I mean, my coach is an evil whore, hater, bad woman, abused me for 4 years. Yeah,
that's a great coach.
She has dementia now. Anyway,
take that.
I'm so bitter.
I'm the same way.
Oh my God.
I'm so bad.
The way that people act when they have control over children is just
the way that people act when they have control. When I got my second DUI and I had to get the interlock put in, the guy, I Googled it and I only found, I found one guy and I just thought it was that expensive. He was gorgeous. He was price gouging me the whole time.
For that,
and he was like, oh, it's like $500 to install, and it's like $150 every time you get you have to come every month to do the checkup. And I was just like, oh, everyone says it's super expensive getting a DUI, so I just paid it. And then his wife got cancer, and I was like, well, the universe has spoken. And so he retired early. He had a fucking Hellcat. It's like a $200,000 Chevy Camaro. And that was
his job?
In his garage, the garage that he would work on the cars in. And I was like, obviously, because you're price gouging everybody. And then I went to another place. I was panicked. I was like, I got to find a new place. And I found a new place. They're like, yeah, we charge $75 to install it, and it's $20 a month. And I was evil. Like, this motherfucker. Well,
that's evil. Yeah, people just love control and I don't know, whatever. So, but I got trained. I was really good in high school. I think I was top 5 recruits that year, but I was trained to my max. So once I went to Syracuse.
Let's talk about it. So you get to Syracuse and you were just like, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm just not going to get better. This is the best I can do. Also, all of the coaches who were recruiting me thought that I could lose weight. And so they just assumed that I would get better and lose weight.
Yeah.
And then become a beast in college. And it just,
Didn't happen.
I wasn't meant for that. But then I was still at Syracuse and I got to keep my scholarship. So
Yeah. Well, so wait, how did you end up keeping your scholarship?
my coach was amazing, like at Syracuse, just a wonderful
Because I know
man.
there's a lot of red tape when it comes to that kind of stuff.
There
about,
is.
Like they could just write a certain thing on whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you get to keep your scholarship.
He helped me like maneuver. I had really good grades still, like, and that's part of rowing is in Title IX matched up with football. So like they need us to be smart so that the footballers can be stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had good enough grades to get some merit scholarships, and he really helped me out.
That's awesome. Yeah, because when I got my 8th concussion and it was like done, they're like, you're never going to start. Like, you're playing fullback, which is basically a bigger running back in South Florida. They're like, we got plenty. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And they're better than you. So it was one of those things where I was done, but it's called a medical white shirt, where but for the listeners, it's called a medical white shirt, where you medically can no longer play the sport that you went to school for, but you get to keep all of the advantages that you have. So like I could still go to the Tom Oxley Athletic Center and
awesome.
do study. Like I could still do all that. I didn't because my drinking and drug abuse got way out of control. But like I could have still been a part of the team without being on actually suiting up and practicing and stuff.
That should be studied is when you quit like being an athlete in school, the
addiction that takes over.
Because like that was the addiction.
Well, I tell people that all the time. I go to be a Division I athlete, really to be an athlete on every level, but we're the elite of the elite, so we're going to talk D1. So to be a Division I athlete, you have to be obsessed.
Yeah.
It attracts people with addictive personality. I was talking to Hannah Berner, shouts out. Let me pick that up.
Yeah.
I dropped that name. I was talking to Hannah Berner about this because she played tennis at Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm a Summer House fan. I've heard that woman talk about tennis.
Yeah. She's a very good friend.
She's so funny.
I'll text her right now. Yeah, I have her.
Oh my God, you're so cool.
I have her number on my phone. I would text her and she'd be like, "Who is this?"
Didn't have this number saved.
Yes. Question mark. But her and I talked about it because when I first met her years ago at the stand, I was like, we were sitting at the bar and I was drinking water, obviously. This is when I first moved to New York. And to be honest, I love her to death. She's one of the nicest people in the world. She's given me so many opportunities. When I first met her, I did not know who she was because I'm not a big reality TV guy.
Yeah, that was before stand-up, right?
Yeah. She did Summer House and then she kind of parlayed into stand-up with the giggles and the podcast and stuff. But I just didn't know. So we were just talking. I knew she was a bigger comic because I've seen her at the stand before, but I didn't know her like that. And she, like, I was talking to the bartender and then she was talking, and we did that like triangle thing where we eventually turned and just started talking to each other. And she goes, "Oh, are you drinking anything?" I said, "No, I'm sober." And she goes, and we were talking about the athlete stuff. And she goes, "There's so many people who are athletes who are either sober or dead. Like their lives are destroyed. Like it's insane." And there's a big crossover into comedy too, because it takes that same kind of mental, like, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Like with athletics, they used to try and run us into the ground. I had a coach say on my senior night, Brennan, or you in Tassif, "I tried to make you quit. Every fucking week I tried to make you quit. And you're still here and you're a great part of this team, blah, blah, blah." But like, so we deal with that as kids. And then same thing for me with drugs and alcohol. It's like, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how many times I get fired. Doesn't matter how many times like someone leaves me. Like I'm going to keep pushing.
Yeah.
And then we have to do it with comedy where it's like rejection after rejection after, and you're like,
returning every day to torture.
Yeah, we love it.
We do love it.
Yeah. So
this seems so easy. I mean, this is such a chill way to spend my time. So many people are like, "It's so hard. You grind so hard," and I'm like, I go giggle every night.
Yeah, it's hard in the sense where it's like
emotionally it's hard.
Emotionally it can be draining, and also like logistically it can be difficult where it's like, okay, I got to go here and do this and then do that and then do that and then go across Manhattan to do this and that. And so like logistically you can only fit so much in a day.
Financially it's hard. That's the worst.
Who are you telling? I got to pay rent on the 8th like every month. It's because I need that extra check to come in. It's fucking. I'm also very bad with money. I light money on fire, but like it's the amount of times we do shows and people are like, "Exposure's the pay." Like, what are you talking about? And you're like, especially like when you've been doing it for years. Like I've, off and on coming up on 14 years, and I've been doing it since I got sober, like really hard for the last 6. And it's like, come on, man. Like, come on.
I know.
But for you go to Syracuse after year 2, you said sophomore year? Going
beginning
into
of sophomore year,
you were like, I'm done.
I tried to train. I broke both my ankles and my tailbone drinking, not even rowing.
Tell that story.
Yeah, I don't know the story because I was blacked out, but...
Freshman year?
Yes.
So this is obviously during the summer, I would assume?
This is during spring of freshman year.
That's early. Come on.
I know. I was already really discouraged because like the whole thing was just, I need to lose weight. I'm just not going to be, because like especially in a boat, you sit lower.
Yeah.
with more weight. So like you can't even be mad at them for asking that of you. Like the physics of it, yes, everyone will be faster if I lose weight.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't. Like my body is just this size.
It's a genetic thing. Like people tell me, like I'm very strong, but I'm not shredded. I go to the gym 6 days a week, but I'm not. Like I always have this, and I've always had it.
Yeah.
I've never had abs, even when I was like working my ass off my freshman year of college. Like I want to try to start by my junior year, like in the gym every day, running every.
Yeah.
Like still never had abs.
It's just not going to happen.
It's just genetically.
Look at like our ancestors, like our in cold
the
places.
Ohio genetics,
Yes.
baby.
I went to Scotland recently and like looked at the little huts that they
Scotland.
lived in. That was really good.
Thank you.
But I like lived in went to the little hut that like my ancestors would live in. It's cold. There's no heat. Like there's famine.
Yeah.
Of course I'm chunky.
Of course
I'm
we're
gonna
built,
be chunky.
We're built to survive.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I was out.
What
one
happened?
night.
Just come on.
So
you got to remember the beginning of the story.
I was out. I know that I was out.
Are you like super? When you get to Cuse, let's talk about this. Coming from Ohio, did you know anybody?
Well, I built-in friends on the rowing team.
Yeah,
So men's and women's rowing team. The women were like my girlies. I rowed. I was around them.
Because
all
I've
the
heard
time.
different stories about rowing. Like obviously Daisy's aren't
It's
the kind of
cutthroat.
reference, but yeah, she said
Yeah.
sometimes like she's like, no, I didn't get along. I'm paraphrasing. I don't want to put words in her mouth because I'm going to make her listen to this episode. But there are like certain like fuck you, no fuck you. Like
100%.
this is my
100%. There's definitely that, but it's such a big team.
Yeah.
That it's like I had 8 girls.
Okay.
That I ran around with all the
So
time.
you met them when you get to Cuse, and Cuse is how you guys say it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
What's that, gang?
It's really good.
Go Big Orange. So you guys are hanging out, and then spring semester. When's rowing? Rowing's a spring sport. Right?
It's fall. Fall is 5Ks and spring is 2K. So spring
Okay.
is sprint season.
Okay, so then you guys one night you're just like let's party.
Yeah. So we were only allowed to drink on Saturday nights because every other Sunday was the only day we had
Training,
off.
yeah.
So Saturday we always hit really hard, and
Yeah.
I blacked out every single Saturday. Of
Almost
freshman
immediately,
year.
like just
Yeah.
bang bang, I'm out.
Yeah, just like it was diabolical. Like it was so bad. And then I would just wake up on Sunday and be like, "What did I do, you guys?" Which is not good, but I was I was a party
rough
animal.
way to live. Yeah,
Yeah.
We're addicts. We love the intensity.
Crazy. So that was one of those nights. I was probably at a rowing party at one of the boys' houses.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Nobody was with me when this happened. So like I walked home.
So you could have like fell off a roof or like
Easy.
got hit by a car or something.
Yeah.
Like you don't know how it happened.
No clue.
Where did you wake up?
In my bed. So like I'm a really good. In some ways it's good. In some ways it's bad. Like I am all business when I black out. Like when I'm tipsy, you're like that girl's drunk, and when I'm blackout, they're like,
look at us having things in common.
They're like, she should get behind a wheel of a car.
Oh my God, I love that you said that. And I think I've told this before. Let's be honest, listeners, I've told this before. But I used to joke because Daniel Barricat, the original drinking buddy, one of my closest friends in college, him and his now wife, Karen, when they were dating and they lived together and they would throw parties, they would invite me over. Because we're all graduated, they would like throw parties. Well, I was a year behind because I had to take an extra year. But they would throw parties for like their new work friends.
Yeah.
And they would always invite me as like the party starter. And because I'd run around all business, get everyone doing shots. So if I get like 10 or 12 people all to do one shot with me, well, I've done 10 or 12 shots. They've all done one, but I've done 12.
Right.
And it's funny, by the third one, their friends who didn't know me would be like, man, Brennan's hammered. Because I'm like, let's go. Party. Woo. And then Daniel and Karen would look at me and be like, no, he's not.
He's just getting started.
He's fine.
Yeah.
And then when I would be sitting on the couch like this, watching TV in silence, they'd be like, now he's drunk.
Yeah. Now we're worried.
Yeah, now he's drunk. So you're the same way. You were like, when
so
you
people
hit that
always
point,
let me leave parties alone because it seemed like I was so fine.
You're
And that's
fine.
not their fault at all. Like, that's just what it was. So I went home alone, and Syracuse is like the snowiest place in America. So everything's icy. I'm walking down the Carrier Dome steps, and I think that is what I have pieced together because I woke up in the morning. I can't believe that I got myself home because I couldn't.
That's what I was wondering.
I couldn't breathe. Like, have you ever hurt your tailbone?
Oh, yeah. You make that noise.
Yeah. It's very that. It's heinous.
That noise.
And I made my poor girl, Emily, she was my best friend. And
Shouts out, Emily.
love that woman. She hates lying. But I was afraid that I was going to get in trouble if I said it was like on the Carrier Dome and I was going to get the school involved. I was afraid I was going to get kicked off the team.
Yeah.
Because it was underage drinking, whatever. So like I made up a story.
Well, we've learned from Daisy, if you get the school involved, you're probably going to get kicked off the team.
Exactly.
Even if it's for something heinous.
Yeah. And I had already gotten caught for drinking in my dorm room. and my coach was incredible about that. So it was like I was already a problem child.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because like,
and you're not meeting the expectations that were set to you. So you're like, I don't want to rock the boat here.
Yeah.
Oh, Brennan T comedy,
really
baby.
Yeah. So I like went to the hospital. They kept me in a hallway next to like people going through psychotic episodes.
As they do.
Yeah. No Tylenol, nothing. For 5 hours, and then my
X-rays came back and they said broken ankles and broken tailbone.
Yeah.
What'd you tell the team?
Well,
because you have to have a reason for that happening.
Yeah, I had come up with a good enough story.
Just get into a car accident on the way home.
The captain actually came during that time and was just angry that I had posted an Instagram story the other day, like the day before, with a beer in the background. Because I'm underage and that doesn't represent the team. And she like didn't say sorry or anything. And then, they were pissed, but what can you do?
Well, like, what did you tell them?
I think I told them that I wasn't drinking.
It's not like they're going to revoke your scholarship now.
No, exactly. I think I said that I was walking somebody else home. I think I made Emily be part of my lie and said like I was walking her home. She was drunk because she was not a rower. And I slipped and
Thanks,
fell.
Emily.
Yeah, queen.
Yeah, just take that. What is it called when you in the Japanese?
Fall on your sword or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's called.
Whoever's watching Shogun, leave it in the comments.
Yeah,
it's like a staccato or something like that.
No clue.
Where Emily just fucking
100%. She's the best. But yeah, that.
So yeah, you just say you were walking a friend home from a party. She was drunk. You slipped on some ice.
Yeah, it's icy in Syracuse. That's totally. And I'm clumsy. That's why I play a sitting down sport.
Yeah.
My parents actually banned me from land sports when I was 12.
I'm gonna write that down. Sitting down sport. So then. This is great because we got a story out because sometimes people are like, you talk comedy for 30 minutes before you got into stories. So there's a story up front. So how did you get into stand-up? So you go through Syracuse, you graduate. What did you get your degree in?
Journalism.
Okay. And then you're just like, boy, oh boy, I'm moving to the big city?
Yeah, I moved the day after graduation. I had got a really good job at Fortune magazine.
Okay.
So that was cool. I interned there. Are you
still with Fortune now?
No, I ended up going to LinkedIn and now I'm at NBC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, NBC?
Yeah, that's the one.
The NBC?
The NBC.
Ooh.
You know what? I was about to say that I say what it stood for, but I don't know.
National Broadcasting Company?
Probably.
No, that's what it stands for.
All right.
It's the most basic.
I just got there. I don't know.
What do you do at NBC?
I edit newsletters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's something that happens.
Yeah, I guess.
Yep.
If you say so.
It's a great job to have to do comedy. Everyone seems to understand that we're not saving lives.
And you can work from do you work remote? No,
I
you
work
work
remote
at 30
Sundays.
Rock.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I go in.
Doxing the shit out of
Whatever, show up.
Did I
Good
told
security
you
at 30 Rock actually.
Oh,
so
yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah.
I told you I used to do that
Oh really?
I used to tell people never respond to comments. I was like, just don't respond to them. This is when I had no comments ever on anything. And then I started posting a lot more and playing the game. And then I started getting comments. I would give people my address.
That's so
and
funny.
I'd be like, come see me.
That's so funny.
Come see me. I talked about this with Scott Hall.
We are
I
so
was
similar. We're
come
such
see me.
hardos. I'm in my TikTok comments being like, hope you have the worst day of your life, stupid bitch.
So there was this guy in Wyoming who killed a wolf. This old 50-year-old man.
In a cool way?
And no, in a really shitty way, and I'm a huge dog person, dragged it through a bar while it was still alive, maimed, and then shot it outside.
Oh, that's awful.
So the guy's name is Cody, who did all this stuff. I had Cody Lewis, the very funny comedian Cody Lewis, on my podcast over a year ago, and one of the clips I cut was him talking about how he got really drunk and embarrassed himself in front of this young woman, and so it was him looking into the camera and apologizing. And the name of the clip is Cody Apologizes. In the last 6 months, it's gone from no views to over 150 or 160,000.
And they think it's him?
They're like, fuck this piece of shit. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, every single one I reply to because I'm a psycho. I'm like, you're an idiot. It's a fucking skinny comedian hipster from fucking Brooklyn.
Reading
how are you not putting this together?
Yeah.
People are all of you watching this, pay attention.
Yeah, they can't.
It's ridiculous.
You need to put Subway Surfers in the bottom for anyone to pay any attention.
It's nuts.
So I came and did journalism.
NBC.
Yes. But then, so at my first job, it wasn't something I've never been a performer. I didn't do theater.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. So
nothing.
You loved comedy growing up.
Yeah.
You were around comedy. You knew about comedy. You go to Syracuse, go Cuse, and then you graduate, you get to New York, and then what happens where you're like, I'm going to try this?
So at my first job, like I kind of thought about doing it because I was here, but then I started a union and that took up all my time.
Yeah.
And then I got into...
She started a union. We're not the biggest fans.
Yeah. And then I got into a long distance relationship with a guy in Boston, so I was there all the time.
Okay.
And then when we broke up...
That's why you brought up Boston earlier.
Yes.
I was like, what's the connection?
Yeah, I spent so much time there. Dumb city. He was
I-
so mad that I wouldn't move there.
The way you said dumb city, I assumed the relationship ended poorly. The way you were
No.
like, fuck that city.
No.
But you just really just didn't like Boston.
I think it's a dumb place,
It's
yeah.
the dumbest place.
It just doesn't... It's not... The only diversity is because of the schools.
There's no diversity.
Right. Like, there's... Just, like, downtown, because of all the schools, there are, like, MIT kids.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, it just sucks, and it's
But
too
I mean,
expensive
that's not
to
even
be...
diversity. There's just a bunch of nerds.
Exactly.
Like, come on.
Right.
You want to see diversity? Come to South Florida, baby.
I'd rather not.
Gang, gang. Hey, South Florida's very blue.
That's fine.
Oh, I thought that's what you
It's
said.
swampy.
It's very swampy.
I'm not interested.
It's so swampy.
I don't like to sweat.
I love it.
Ugh.
I
I love the cold.
It's interesting you say that. My girlfriend Tracy, who I'm contractually obligated to mention every
Hi,
episode,
Tracy.
she's gonna love that. She always talks about how she can never live in Florida because of the humidity in her hair and all that kind of
She a
stuff.
curly hair queen too?
Yeah. And so but then we went there in February to like visit with my family, and it was 75, and we were walking on the beach.
In the
and she
winter,
was
it
like,
rocks.
She was like, "Well, I don't hate this."
Yeah.
She's like, "I could do this."
That's fine.
But you just can't do the sun. Oh, the summers are rough.
They're so gross.
So you spent a lot of time in Boston.
Yes, and then we broke up, and I was like, I have so much time. Because I was at his house like 2 weeks out of the month, and then he was at mine. So it was just like,
Okay.
I had this huge black hole
What year
of
is
time.
this?
I'm new, 2022.
Okay. Well, because I the reason why I'm asking is because you're talking about like traveling and stuff, and I just didn't know if it would be like a COVID situation.
No, so we met in early 2021.
Okay. So
And then-
post-COVID.
Yeah.
Well, as it was in the South.
Yes.
Middle
yeah.
of 2020 was post-COVID. But
Yes.
I see what you're saying. So then you have all this time, and
Yeah.
what triggers it for you where you're like, and I don't mean trigger in that way. I mean like what in your head clicks
triggered.
where you're like,
Well, I've always had like a note in my phone of jokes I would tell.
Yeah.
Like this was always something that I knew was a possibility. It just I had never had time for it. And I've been like, I like comedy so much that I would go sit in at open mics before I even thought of getting up
yeah,
there.
you just wanted to be
I just
around
like being around it. I like seeing amateurs do anything. I love seeing what it looks like when it's bad.
it. Talking porn.
That was bad. Yeah. What are you gonna do? My first
Or as
open
I like
mic
to say,
though.
documentaries. Your first mic?
My first mic was actually in Orlando with that friend Emily.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in like 2019 maybe.
Where in Orlando?
A coffee shop.
Milk District?
No. Like a kind of like a dingy little hipster coffee shop.
Okay.
It was awesome. And I went up and talked about, I was in a like cult in high school. And I went up and talked about that. And these
You were in a
two,
cult in high school?
Yeah, big time.
Oh, God.
Just like a new age Christian thing. It was
Okay,
like
okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
But these two older guys in the scene pulled me aside and were like,
Who?
I don't know, two old fat black men.
Okay.
And I loved them.
Yeah.
They pulled me aside and were like, you said it was your first time, but you should keep doing this.
Yeah.
You have something
I
there.
wonder if one of them was Genesis. I think he was still alive back then. He's an Orlando guy. He passed away, sadly, but.
Oh, R.I.P.
Yeah, but I only asked because in Florida, all the scenes are kind of interconnected. Like, like a lot of us know each other. So that's why I was asking.
You were you in Jax?
No, yeah. So I started in South Florida, but then like when I came back and like really started grinding in comedy, I was in Jacksonville.
Okay.
But we would drive to Daytona, drive to Orlando, drive to Tampa,
Right.
and then those guys and girls would drive over to Jacksonville. So we all it
Kind
was
of a little
very
circuit.
Yeah, it's super incestuous. Like we all knew everybody from everywhere.
Yeah, it might have been him because it seemed like a pretty populated open mic. It was
Yeah.
cool.
So then you were like, "Oh, I'm going to keep doing this." I can't believe you went to Orlando for your first time living in New York.
I know my friend Emily was living there, and
Okay.
she had started doing it, and was like, "You have to." So like I had a push, but then the pandemic happened.
Wait, Emily, our Emily, the
Yeah.
Emily we're talking about, is
Yeah.
she still doing it?
No.
Okay.
She works in HR. She like lives a pretty normal life.
Yeah.
Which is good. She lives in Syracuse now, so I don't think there's like much.
Oh,
of
I
a
was gonna
scene
say if
to
she
be
was still in
had.
Florida and she was still doing it, we probably ran into each other.
I know, but yeah, no, not anymore. Though she is funny. But then, so like after the pandemic and after this relationship, and when I just had like time, I kind of remembered that and had this long note in my phone of jokes that I would tell.
Just started going up?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Which was awesome because it felt like I didn't have to write. I just had to show up.
Because you already had stuff written down for so long.
Yeah. So the barrier to entry was pretty low.
Hell yeah. And I saw you at a show at Greenwich Village Comedy Club. And it was funny because just when you walked in, you had that energy. And it's the same thing about Daisy. It's the same thing. Like, there's a lot of people I know where they walk in and you're just like, you don't know. Like, Cam Patterson was the same way when he came on the podcast and stuff. Like, people walk into a room and you're just kind of like, I kind of want to hang out with that person. Like, people gravitate towards those people.
Yeah.
And you walked in and immediately you were gregarious and you're laughing and you were joking around. And then some of your material, I was like, that's hilarious. Like the Lil Wayne bit and stuff. I still remember. It was so funny.
I love that joke.
It's one of my favorites. And as a big Lil Wayne fan, I was just like, yes.
Nobody talks about how funny he is.
It's so funny.
One of the funniest people on the planet.
He has that Ooh La La remix where he's like Mario Karting power up like a mushroom. And you're like, come on, man.
He's
this guy's talking about fucking Mario Kart.
He's so good. God, I love that man.
So I saw you there and I was like, because I had never met you before.
Right.
And because the scene is so big here and I was just like, like, you definitely got to come on the podcast. And then we ended up going over to the Grizzly Pear after and we hung out and we were talking and I was like, you got to come on. You got to come on.
So excited. Yeah.
And this has been a blast because like you said, you're newer into comedy. But I say that all the time when people are like, how do you book guests? It's like, well, obviously if they're like a big comic or a big artist in any way, because I like to have artists on, I'll have them on. But there's also people I meet and I click with and I'm also like, they're in it. Like, we're doing this. Because I say it all the time. There's a difference between comedians and the people who do comedy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're doing it for like a year, 2 years, whatever. Like, if I think, like, if I'm not the gatekeeper, but if I'm like, oh, you're a comedian, like, you're in this. Like, you live this life, then I'm like, fuck yeah, come on. And then I text you this morning, was like, hey, my guest canceled. Can you come? And you're like, I'll fucking be there. Let's go.
I'm getting on a bike.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Speaking of COVID, you brought it up. I'm going to hit some of these stories.
Hell yeah.
What you just sent me Trump COVID. What is that?
Yeah. The first time I did mushrooms was during COVID.
Wait, that's not the same one as the dosage one.
No, I love mushrooms.
So you've done mushrooms a few times.
Yeah. I think they're a very nice time. But that was the first time, and I was at a cabin in the Poconos with some of my friends. It was like the first time any of us had been out.
Yeah.
It was like October. Not like in the South, but we waited a little bit to go out. Yeah, you guys
waited. I had friends in New York and LA, and I'd be like, oh, sorry, guys, I got to go to work. And they're like, work?
Yeah, they're like,
this is
what?
like in July. And I'm like, yeah, I'm back at work.
Oh, no, we did not do that. But it was for my friend's birthday. It was super fun. But we made the mistake of like 3 of us or 4 of us took mushrooms in a cabin full of like 15 people.
Oh, no.
And the rest of them like were drinking wine. Like they weren't even getting fucked up.
They weren't even
all.
like, they weren't even trying to get on the train.
Not
you guys
at all.
had already you're already like 10 stops down. Like, see you later.
Yeah. We're having the best time of our lives. Also, oh my God, it hit for the first time. We were in a little like,
paddle boat?
Yeah. Like in paddle boats, the fall foliage, it hit. I'm like alone in a paddle boat in the middle of this beautiful pond in
just
the Poconos.
Life.
Oh my God, I'm so happy. Best thing ever. We get back. It's still just us. The boys, most of my friends, a lot of my friends are just straight boys. I love them. I love them so much. We get back. We're all on mushrooms playing the batting game where the guys will like do a batting stance and then the other guys have to guess
who it is.
Yeah.
Kevin Youkilis.
Gary Sheffield. Yeah.
Jim Tomey.
I was so shocked, first of all. I'm on mushrooms, but I also would have been shocked very much regardless that they all could identify like that.
Yeah.
Ichiro. I was like, what are you talking about? Why do you all know that?
Godzilla.
I was so like paranoid. I was like, they all have a network of information that I don't have. I was so freaked out. But then we went upstairs and a couple of us had to cook dinner, which was bad. They burnt the pizzas. That was not smart. And
wait, a couple of the shroomers had to cook dinner?
Yes. Oof. It was not our best decision.
So no one was like, hey, we're on mushrooms?
No.
Like, oh, you were keeping
because all the other people, we didn't want to tell them because you know how some people who don't do drugs are really
they're
weird.
They're very judgy, yes.
And
when I tell people I've done heroin a couple times, they like freak out. And I'm like, it's like everybody relax. It's the same chemical makeup of Oxycontin. Like, everybody chill.
I know. Why is everyone okay with like, I take Xanaxes every time I get on a plane, but they're not okay with an occasional heroin use?
Oh, we're going to clip it. It's going to get shadow banned, but we're clipping it. We're clipping it, but it's going to get shadow banned.
I'll pretty much say anything. But Yeah, so that was really fun. And then
So what happened? So nobody figured out that you guys were on them?
they did figure it out, and they were terrible about it. They were like, "So what are you feeling right now?" I was like I don't want to talk to you. Yeah.
Are these your friends from Q, like the athletes, or are these?
No,
these are
a couple of them are friends from Cuse, and then they're friends.
Okay.
Like townies in Syracuse.
Yeah.
Just like good normal people, but not people I want to hang out with. You know what I mean? Yeah, nerds.
Either you're gonna try it, or you've done so much of it you can no longer try it. Those are the categories.
Yes, 100%.
Like I don't, and I'm not advocating everyone go out and just do rails of coke, but it's like as long as you test it and it's all right.
But also just be chill about it. Like at least watch enough media about it or something that you can be around somebody who's on it without being a freaking weirdo.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because like going to halfway houses and rehabs and institutions and stuff, and just having friends that are in addiction. It's like I've hung out with some of my closest friends, like while they're nodding out, and you're just like, I guess they shot up, like shit.
Yeah.
But it's not like, what do you like? I'm not like, what are you gonna do?
I know.
And then it's so funny because then you'll be walking in the streets in New York and you'll see tourists like, oh, it's like people on the street, and it's like, relax, guy.
Literally relax. Especially right now, it's like it's Fent. People are like bent over. They are of no threat to you.
Yeah,
They're
even
asleep
worry
while
about
standing
it.
up. You don't have to be
They're
worried.
nodded, dude. Like,
It's not like at home. It's meth. Like you have to be scared of meth.
yeah,
heads.
meth is because we have meth in Florida too. Meth is tricky because
They're gonna like
meth
bite
and PCP
you.
are the two that where you're like,
Yeah, they're gonna bite you and steal your wallet.
yeah, you just shoot them and they just keep coming.
Yeah. Though, like the Fent heads, who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah.
So that was not the first time. That was the first.
That was
time.
the first time I did mushrooms. It was very fun, but we found out that Trump had COVID while we were on mushrooms, and we were like, he's gonna die. Yes, we were so happy.
See, this is so weird because you guys are in the Poconos doing that, and then I'm at home drinking bleach because I'm like, that's what Papa Bear said to do.
Yes.
So weird.
And how beautiful that we can come together now.
Look at us. You know, some people say
It was so
it
good.
couldn't be done, but we did it. Me and McKenna Moore. 2024, Vice President.
Oh, gendered. Interesting. Maybe a woman could be president for once.
Yeah, but if I'm Trump in this scenario.
Okay, fine.
Hey, you guys had your shot. Remember, you blew it.
Because of the emails.
Was that what it was? I don't want
I
to
don't
talk
know.
politics, but it was so funny because I'm a libertarian by nature, but normally vote Democrat.
It's so crazy to identify as a libertarian. That's such a funny thing.
As someone who majored in political science and American history, I'm like, stay out of my fucking shit.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah,
Get
that
out
I
of my
get.
wallet. Get out of all of it.
Yeah.
Like
Let
I
me-
was the
let me
kind of
exist.
Yeah, I was the kind of like I have a bit about it, but I was the kind of guy when I got pulled over. I'm like, this is the land of the free and the home of the brave. Francis Scott Key says, go fuck yourself. How about that?
I like that.
Yeah. But I grew up in a house like everyone's big Democrat.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Like my dad, like JFK posters on the wall, like whole thing. Yeah.
I was a huge JFK guy when I was in fourth grade.
Bobby, what are we gonna do? The Russians. So I normally vote Democrat, but it's insane because like that whole thing. When Hillary was running, I was like, oh, shit. Because I was talking to my friends, and as someone who, like, study, like, I'm sure you're the same way with journal. Like, when you study something, you're like, oh, I can see it. I can cut through all the bullshit of, like,
Right.
oh, red, oh, blue, oh, bleh, and it's like, well, no, he's not. It's impossible for him to win.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't, like, I studied, I can name the president's forwards and back. This doesn't
can't
happen.
happen. Yeah.
This, not that it can't, it won't. Like,
Yeah.
it's impossible. And when she dropped the bag on that, I was like, what the fuck?
I know.
It's over. It's
All
over.
of it was insane. It was so crazy
I
to
was
watch
like,
that.
it's like, clock out, everybody. We can go home. We're done.
That was such a crazy time to live through.
And people were so hyped about him.
I know.
And I see it because I've got my immediate family, like I said, is Democrat, but my extending family, you know, there are a lot of Republicans, especially in Florida, and it's like, they're like, hell yeah. And I'm like, this guy's a fucking, like, I do the impression and it's funny and like I joke around, and obviously we're comics, but it's like, this dude's a moron, man.
Oh, so stupid. It does make me sad that people can't see that. Totally regardless of politics, that dude's a dummy.
Dummy.
That's crazy. He's falling. I just saw a clip on TikTok on the way here that it was like, any news on how Trump's doing in the hush money trial? And the anchor goes, sleeping a lot. They've like tried devices to keep him awake and it doesn't work. Like they have to put a shock collar on him to keep him awake in court. That's so funny.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So awesome.
So that's the first time you did mushrooms was when Trump got COVID.
Yeah.
You're forever tied to Trump.
Yeah. We were weeping and telling each other we loved each other because we're like, oh, it's over. He's gonna die. And he is still here.
And then you would get who was his vice?
Mike Pence.
I can see his head.
Oh my God, yeah, because he's smarter. He might be more sinister because he can hide what he's doing.
And also, like I said, like politicians are just disgusting by nature. Like it takes a real narcissist to be like, hey, I want everyone. We were talking about the control thing.
I think
earlier.
I should be in charge of all this.
Yeah. But at least like with some of them, it's like at least they don't make us look like assholes on the world stage.
Yeah.
He died like a dog. So when was this time? The wrong dosage. When was that time for the mushrooms?
Oh, that was like probably a year later.
Okay, so you're a veteran of mushrooms at this point.
Yes, I do. I do mushrooms probably like once a quarter.
Yeah.
I like to keep it fresh.
Once a quarter, every 3 months.
Yeah.
Write it down.
And my friend was at my house, and he did so much acid in college. Like,
ooh, that's tricky because acid's way worse for you.
Way worse. And he like went a little nutty.
Yeah.
But this was like 5 years later, and he was like, I think I'm ready to like wade back in, but I want you to like dose me and do everything. And I forgot that I'm big and he's small.
I forget that all the time too.
Oh my God. And I'm so dense. Like I just
when I make mixed drinks for people, even being sober 6 years, like I can be around it because I have, I work a very solid program. So it's like doesn't bother me to be around it. And I'll make mixed drinks for people and they'll take one sip and be like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, sorry. Recovering alcoholic, big guy, my bad.
Yeah. So I gave him as much as I took.
Woo!
And he's probably like 5'5", 115 on a good day.
Short king, baby.
Yeah, little guy. And he's a drug guy. So like I just thought
he'd be fine.
Yeah. But he hadn't been a drug guy for 5 years. Fine. Yeah, because he spun out on acid.
Was not fine.
He was losing his mind. We like went on a walk and he was like,
you're trying to calm him down, Sherpa him.
He's trying to be chill, but he was like, I have to be real with you. Everything is glitching. And I was like, word. We're going to go home. And then he's crawling around in my apartment on all fours. Like dry heaving. He keeps switching between like his wife beater and a lacrosse penny because it like, I don't know. He's.
When is this?
This was during COVID.
I was gonna say the Trump thing would have been obviously during COVID. Yeah. And then a year later, so you guys are still in the COVID thing.
Yeah.
And you're living in New York at the time.
Yes. So he's just in my little apartment. He refuses to stand up. He's like, it's too high up there. I was like, it's actually quite literally not. You're very small.
Actually, you're just a teeny tiny little guy. Yeah. You can stand up.
And I'm like tripping a little, but like
you're fine.
I didn't take that much because I was like, I'm going to take care of him today.
Yeah.
But he was pretty bad. He kept switching between
worst
one was his throw up shirt.
Sherpa ever.
Yeah, it was bad. But then recently I dosed like 15 people at a different cabin and nobody got fucked up at all. Everyone had a wonderful time.
Oh, okay.
So I feel karmically I have.
Oh, you've restored the balance.
Yeah.
Did they ask you to, or you were just like, this will be hilarious?
I was the one who had the most experience with it, so I had to do that.
Yeah. I want to ask you, Fight Eye to Harlem or the golf party? Because we have time for one more story.
Oh, man. Golf party.
Okay, golf party. Let's do it.
So do you know what that is? Like,
no.
There's a thing called the golf party at Syracuse. I doubt it's like just a Syracuse thing.
I know what like Top Golf is.
It's not Top Golf.
Take us through it. It's called the golf party at Syracuse.
Yeah. So a bunch of different athlete houses, mostly club athlete houses, because this could get you in a lot of trouble. Each house is a hole, and each house has a lot of a different type of alcohol.
Okay. So it's a bar crawl.
Kind of. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's called that, because like it also starts at different times because it's been going on for a long time. So like it'll normally start at 4 p.m. on like a Friday.
Yeah.
And when you go to a house, you have to finish everything that's there.
Oh, okay. So it's a little different. We had a putt and crawl in Jacksonville, which is all the beach bars would like set up their own putt like.
Oh, that's fun.
Hole.
Yeah.
And so you would go from bar to bar, like doing the putt, and then you would get like drinks and stuff like that.
That's
you pay
cute.
for a wristband and you get like deals on drinks and free drinks and all that kind of stuff.
That sounds fun. That feels like you could be responsible doing that one.
But with the golf party, you go to the house and each house is a hole. In order to finish the hole, you have to drink everything in the house.
Yes.
So it literally has nothing to do with golf other than the setup.
Correct.
Okay.
So like first house, you start with Everclear.
It sounds even more dangerous than what I was just about to say.
It is an extremely dangerous thing.
How many people are in the houses? Do you get like as many athletes together as you can?
Yeah, and we all invite people.
Yeah, because
so,
it would take a lot of people. Like
probably like 100. It's still like an exclusive party.
Yeah.
But like the people who hang around athletes all know about it. And it's like a yearly thing.
Okay.
And then when you're done with that hole, there's like somebody, you also all dress in golf attire.
Yeah.
It's
Obviously.
like quiet on the green, and then you very quietly, single file, walk down the street, led by like a caddy, to the next hole. So it's like Everclear, and then tequila shots, and then Jello shots, and then bagged wine, and then beer. I'm always blacked out by beer. I'm blacked out by Jello shots.
That's what I was gonna say.
Because like you are drinking.
Now? How much alcohol is there to drink?
So much.
But you know what I'm saying? Just as like someone, I'm trying to like for the listeners, I want to make it like so they can see it. Are you walking in? And it's like a keg of Everclear. Is it like 2 bottles? Is it like what are we talking about?
I have very few memories past Jello shot, even though I did this 4 years in a row. That's why I asked you about the first one. Yeah. Everclear is, I remember walking into a garage and there were bottles stacked up against the wall, the whole wall of a garage.
Okay.
So it's a fucking lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
So it's like a third of a bottle per person.
At least.
Yeah.
Like,
which is too much for Everclear.
Too much.
Just as a raging alcoholic, like that's too much.
It's disgusting. We would drink it with Arnold Palmer, and that really cuts it. Yeah. It was
a golf thing.
Bad. One time I was like on...
Arnold Palmer's a golfer.
Oh, yeah.
I made that quick joke, and you just let it hang out there.
Sorry. I forgot. I'm just a girl. I don't know.
So then you go to tequila shots, but every house is the same. It's just bottles on bottles at every place.
Yeah, like the Jello shots are in a bunch of kiddie pools. Like they fill up kiddie pools. Yeah, 100%. At that point, everyone's wet. I don't really remember why, but everyone's wet.
Yeah.
Like people are on roofs a lot of the time. A lot of people fall off roofs. A lot of people jump out windows.
Does Cuse do anything to try and stop? This sounds like it could be a liability.
Yeah, the cops know about it every year. That's why it starts at 4 p.m. because it's not always at 4 p.m. on a Friday. Sometimes it's 2 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like, because it's been going on forever.
Nightmare, yeah.
Yes.
From like just a liability standpoint.
And everyone is like so blacked out by like 9 p.m. So then we're all around on campus just like everything's going on.
This sounds so dangerous.
So fun.
So fun.
So fun. It would but you had to plan your year around it.
Yeah. Because you're gonna need like at least a week or maybe 3 days after.
Yeah. Even at 19, that is a hangover that you
can't get up from.
Because I would say probably the bagged wine house, everyone is probably drinking at least a half a bag, if not a full bag. That's how I learned to chug.
So much sugar.
Oh, you felt so bad.
Wow.
It was really bad.
That's quite an epic story. You did it 4 years in a row?
Yeah. Oh, that's not even the story part. It's after that.
Wait, what happened?
So I was hooked. My poor mother. You shouldn't watch this one. She listens to my podcast. I'm like, okay, you need to listen on which ones you can watch.
I will send them to you.
Thank you.
The ones you can listen.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my family. I'll send you ones you can listen
you
to.
can watch a lot of my stuff, but also there's some that you really shouldn't.
I'll send it to you, though.
So there was this guy that I'd hooked up with before, and he lived in the rowing house but was not a rower, so he just got called house bitch.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was my man.
That was my house bitch.
Yeah. And he showed up, but we would pretend we wouldn't know each other if we saw each other out in the world. Yeah, whatever. We were both embarrassed about it. Like he was like, I got the fat chick on the rowing team, and I was like, I got the fat stupid bitch who cleans the house for the dirtiest men I know. Yeah.
So he's a bigger guy too?
Yeah. We're both fat. Shut up. At least I'm fat in a boat and good at things. Stupid.
At least I'm strong. I carry the fucking boat.
Yeah.
You clean the house.
So anyway, house bitch comes over at like 11 p.m. And I lived with Emily at the time. And she is hooking up with my friend Andrew because they're dating in her room.
Emily, be careful. Don't listen to this on speaker with your husband.
Seriously. She recently got out of an engagement.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she's back on the freaking market.
I apologize for
she's
what I
gorgeous if you're in Syracuse.
Look her up.
Yeah.
Emily in HR.
Baddie.
Baddie with a fatty.
So she goes out like topless to answer the door.
Damn right she does.
To let house bitch into my house. I'm already in my bed, like passed out, guacamole like smeared across my chest.
This is after golf party.
Yes. But so we're all just
Everyone's
fucked.
hammered.
Just
Emily's obviously hammered, answering the door topless.
100%. She also had peed her pants earlier in the day, but it was raining. So I remember her going like,
I've done that before.
nobody's going to know.
I've done that sober, living in New York. When there was that bad storm that came through here a few years ago, I was walking from the stand. All the subways were down. I had to walk from the stand to my house on 52nd at the time, and I had to pee so bad. But I was new enough to New York where I was like, I'm from the South. We don't pee in public. Like, that's disgusting.
Oh.
So I just kept walking and I was like, well, it's raining a lot. And I just peed my pants as I was walking. And I was like, it's raining a lot. I'll just hang them up when I get home.
That's so crazy.
It stunk so bad.
Of course it
My
did.
ex-girlfriend she was like, what the fuck is that smell? And
I would
I was like, I
would
thought
be
the
so
rain would
mad.
take it out.
That's not how that works at all.
It's not. Learned that the hard way.
That's crazy.
So Emily answers the door, pee pants and all,
Yes.
topless.
Perfect woman. And then he comes into
Check
my
her
room.
out.
Next time I wake up, I don't remember anything about
Yeah.
him coming into my room, whatever. I wake up, he is like tongue out, just kind of asleep on my chest. There's guacamole on both of our faces. I like kind of get him off.
Yeah.
Go into the living room where both of my roommates are. Emily still smells like pee.
Are you still drunk? You're obviously still
We're
drunk.
all so
Yeah.
drunk. It's like 4 a.m. And we just like lay there. There's dirt all over. We hang out with like hicks.
Yeah.
So there's just piles of dirt kind of around our apartment from their like work boots.
Boots? Yeah.
Yeah. And we all just sort of are like, well, this was fun, wasn't it? There's like a man in each of our rooms who none of us have actually had sex because everyone's so drunk. There's just like fucked up, enormous boys laying in each of our twin XLs. And we're just kind of like,
Well, that's life.
this is the dream, isn't it, ladies?
Living the dream.
Yeah. I don't drink that much anymore.
Yeah.
I maxed out.
That was great. Oh my God, this was fun.
So fun.
You got to
Thank
come
for
back
having
on.
me.
We still got to do Fight Eye. We still got to do your hot box. We still got
Yeah.
some stuff to talk
There's
about.
some good stuff.
Plug everything one more time. The podcast, the shows, everything.
Okay, I run a show called Fat Bitches. You can see it on the Lower East Side at Caveat in June. My next show is called Data Comic, where you get to hit on the comics. That's May 16th in Williamsburg at Fiction Bar. My TikTok is at Haha McKenna, and my Instagram is at McKenna P. Moore. Thanks.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so
This
much
was
for having
fun.
me. This was awesome.
Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. At Brennan T. Comedy on all social media, BrennanTComedy.com. Check out the one-man show, Ex Drinking Buddy, a comics look at life, near-death, recovery, and redemption. And we'll talk to y'all next week.